To start with, chef knife, a knife that enough to cut a base for your, so you can set your melon when you sort of looking at it, and set a base so you to know which face of the watermelon will face to the public. So then you can set a base. As soon as you're done carving, you can literally know what to look for, how to carve it. So you just have to staring at your product as you go. The watermelon, I like to skin it because you want the best thing about watermelon is that the color contrast from outside, inside. So first thing is you don't want your green, you don't want green flowers. So you don't want your green outside to show. You can get a little bit white to showing outside, which is not a bad thing. You don't want too much red. So first thing you want to do is you want to peel. I like T-shaped peeler because it just peels straight right out. And then I'll work from there, okay? So all right, so I will start my petal from here. There's thousands of different kind of roses, so it always doesn't matter how many petals you want to work on. But as long as you see the three dimensions comes out and get a shape out, you'll be fine. So first thing is, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make about 4 or 5 leaves, petals as I go. What you want to do is you will start building a gap in between petals. Each petal is a flower on each layer, so there's always a gap in between. So you just have to make so I'm making the first petal, start with. Carving always requires the patience, so you just have to be careful, do a little at a time. And you just have to make it really nice and smooth. Like I said, carving requires a lot of patience, a lot of details. If you don't have patience for this, you probably don't want to touch it. So you always have a gap in between, like a room in between, so you stands out different leaves. The beautiful thing about watermelon, because there's no hollow in the middle, so you can carve, doesn't matter how deep you're in, you don't have to worry about your petal got trimmed off. This one's really nice. It's a good color contrast. So everything follows with the nature. As you see, flower as it opens, its middle part's always closed in as it opens. So you will do exactly the same thing because we are working from outside in. So as you get into the center parts, you end up make your flower actually close more. To make it close more, you end up have to trim because each layer of a flower, outer layers are always taller, longer than the inner one because the inner one is sort of, it look like buds. So you just have to open. So which means the inner parts have to be much lower than the outer side. So you may end up have to trim the white part off to get them the level you desire. The best thing about that, you control with your 4 fingers and holding your paring knife, you can literally know how much you can cut it straight in without cutting the petal off, the outer petals off. So I like watermelon. Another thing is the texture. It's so soft, so easy for you to get your knife in, even though, well, first thing is you gotta have a pretty sharp paring knife too. But the texture is so soft, it doesn't matter how much you cut it in, it's gonna get cut off the extra that you don't want. This is just half of the rose, because the more outside ones, the leaf will be, because it's open longer, so the leaf end up sort of fading out, bend outwards instead of goes in. So what we're gonna do is we actually start to working on the outer one. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna trim the part here that's gonna be the gap of between my outer ones and those joints. So the deeper you cut, Actually, they stand out much better that way. And you basically just repeat what you did earlier and trim off the extra one, and you can go deeper. So I like a seedless watermelon, actually works out much better. Don't cut too big pieces. If you cut too big pieces, it's hard to fix them. If you trim a little at a time, just sort of get them into a smooth, soft edge as you go. Because watermelon texture is really soft, so you don't have to spend too much energy on. Alright. So this time you're carving in the back. That's why I don't want to trim off a lot of greens off. This would be perfect for me to get the leaves. So, and however you want your rose. I'm gonna do the 3-1. So once you sort of using the tip of the knife cut it in, you don't want to cut too deep because sometimes the melon is quite ripe. If you cut in too deep and you sort of bang on the counter, and there's a crack. So it's sort of wasting a lot of efforts. So once you draw a line down, you just have to use the paring knife. Just using the tip side only. You sort of cut. Trimming out. And the side you can literally just keep trimming out so you will have more. Now you can start making veins of the leaf. All you do is cut it into V cuts, so they will both V out as you go. Of course, there's the tools about this too. You don't want to just using the paring knife as you cut them. There's always gonna be tools. I got one right over here, so it's just much easier to go if you are like that. I don't have to worry about. So all those tools will do most work as well. So. Sort of roughly draw it. When you make leaf, just be careful about your flower because once skin's off, they're quite delicate. So once you cut or some petals fall off, don't worry about it because you can always fix it. You just have to be gentle. One out, then you can do other side as well, just sort of same pattern. And you know, you want to free draw your leaf pattern, leaf shapes. You don't want to just do straight all the same thing, so otherwise they all look same. There's no characteristic, there's no personality to it. So this one, let's mix it. And anything you can really fix it if you don't like certain shapes. Okay, and you can do more leaves. Odds always looks better than even. So, okay, so this is my quick watermelon rose carving, and you can try it home.